Good evening. Welcome to the, I always do this, August 19th regular meeting of the Ossining Village Board of Trustees. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee DeRio?
Present.
Trustee Herrera?
Present.
Trustee Codman?
Present.
Trustee Quezada?
Present.
And Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Do we have any mayors or trustees announcements this evening?
We do. I would like to open by just saying this past Friday, August 14th, we said goodbye to Detective Lieutenant William Sullivan after decades of service here to the Ossining Police Department, and we will be formally thanking him for his service at an upcoming board meeting, but I didn't want another week to go by before I had an opportunity to just say we are extremely grateful for all that he has done for this community. He has been a remarkable public servant, and we wish him the very best. I know he's on vacation right now, and I hope he's having an absolutely wonderful time, knowing for the first time in many years that nobody's going to call him on his vacation and tell him there's a big case that he needs to know about. So hopefully he's really relaxing. Another big change coming up in a very different role is Deputy Mayor and Trustee Omar Herrera is, as he announced at our meeting 2 weeks ago, going to be moving on to a new position. And the reason I bring that up right now is to be sure that the public is aware that we will be filling his vacancy, and we are accepting letters of interest and resumes through next week, August 26th. Please send them to, email is the easiest way to get it to all of us, so it's BOT, which stands for Board of Trustees, BOT@villageofossining.org, and we will be contacting any interested parties by the end of the month to set up some interviews and go through that process. This board has become extremely skilled at doing interviewing candidates for really important positions in the village, and we look forward to meeting some interested community members. The only qualifications are that you be eligible to be a voter in the village of Ossining. So again, please send your letters of interest and resumes if you're interested in being considered for the position of trustee to BOT@villageofossining.org. We have already received several from many community members in different with different skills in the community, and we are really looking forward to this process. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. So I have quite a few, so I'm going to go fast. The Rotary Club of Ossining is holding their 3rd annual golf outing and dinner on Monday, August 24th at South Salem Country Club in North Salem. South Salem Golf Club in North Salem. Interesting. 10 a.m. and their dinner will be in the evening. For tickets, you could call 914-438-9843. The other announcement is free rabies clinic will be held this Saturday, August 22nd in Briarcliff Manor. It's sponsored by the Westchester County Health Department. It's a one-day vaccination clinic, and it's open to all dogs, cats, and ferrets for free from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the SPCA at 590 North State Road in Briarcliff Manor. To schedule an appointment, which is required for this, the number is 914-941-2896. And finally, the Greater Ossining Chamber of Commerce, as you've probably read around, is gearing up for their sold-out Lobster Fest, which is happening next Saturday, August 29th at 6 p.m. at the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. And you could purchase tickets at ossiningchamber.org or by calling 941-0009.
Let me just, is it sold out yet, or they just anticipate that it will be sold out?
It'll be sold out, so get your tickets soon.
Okay.
Anyone else? We'll move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Village Manager Abraham Zambrano.
Good evening.
I have a few items for you. We're in the process of developing a schedule and making a potential list of a number of public service announcements that we're planning with the staff. The idea is to provide information to our residents on topics that we feel that will be of interest to everybody. Some of the topics we have on the list now include a recycling education campaign, as well as a comprehensive video about household waste. And the purpose of this is to be able to lower our tipping fees at the MRF up in Peekskill. We want to be able to provide information to the residents about a lot of the recycling items that should not be going into the solid waste stream. So if there are any topics that the board would like for us to include, please let us know. And we'll probably end up having a work session at some point discussing some of these in specific terms. Another thing I wanted to mention to you is that we have a proposed draft law to amend our current off-street parking, and we'll be coming to a work session within the next few weeks. And also, we are working on an on-street parking section of the code that also needs to be revised. And I think we need to make all these things be a little more cohesive and more current with the current needs of the community. We're asking our residents also to please help us with street litter, and if you see any litter, please dispose of it properly. If there are any specific areas of the village that are problematic, please give me a call at Village Hall, and I'll be happy to have it addressed. We also ask our residents to report any quality of life concerns by calling my office at 941-3554. Or you can email me at azambrano@villageofhouseling.org. On to the next topic. I would like to thank Paul Faioli and the DPW staff for cleaning the benches on Main Street, and we're going to try to put this on a schedule, so this way it's done on a pretty consistent basis. There's an item on tonight's agenda, which is resolution F, which is the authorization for the Nixle contract. I know we discussed this at the work session last week. I just want to, again, impress upon the board that this is a very important tool that will be able to notify our residents of any emergencies and also keep them engaged in any kind of communication. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Corporation Counsel Laura Lee Dixon.
Hi, good evening. I'm a broken record, but just to remind the public that within 24 hours of tag sales and yard sales and estate sales, we would appreciate very much you returning back to the places you posted your signs and remove them and put them in your recycling. So we can beautify the village, and also we can keep those items from becoming litter on the street. So just a reminder, it is the law. You have 24 hours to get back to the areas, and that would help us tremendously, because it also means that DPW isn't street sweeping those things into the street sweeper. So I also wanted to draw your attention to item C. This is just a formality as part of the charter. It requires you to accept resignation, and I know that was announced at your last official board meeting, but this evening they'll have to take an affirmative vote. This has been the process and the procedure in the past, so for consistency purposes, we've put it on for this evening. Also, as you recall, among your many items at the work session last week, we're updating a resolution you passed with regard to the provider called Museum in the Streets. Your Historic Preservation Commission returned requesting 2 additional signs, plus with the updated product lists. This contract will be signed for about $1,500 more than you originally authorized. It is still within the budget that has been established for this capital project. So we did put it on for this evening, and I would like to get the village manager to sign this document, and we can get started with the necessary pre-production work so we can get the proofs down, and then we can circulate those signs for the board. And we can also put them on the website for the public to see the wonderful work that the HPC has been doing with the assistance of a consulting planner. The former assistant planner, James, has been working with the HPC on that item. Also, as we're nearing back to school, I just want to remind the public again that state law requires you to stop at crosswalks if pedestrians are in the crosswalk itself. It doesn't need to have an additional sign that says state law requires you to stop. The state law simply does require you to stop. And there are a number of between the block crosswalks along Highland. So just a reminder, if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, you should not only slow down, but you should stop to give the
right away to the pedestrian. So that's a simple reminder over the next couple of weeks, and good practice for when the school buses are back out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Police Chief Joseph Burton.
Evening.
Evening.
Monthly statistics for July 2015. Blotter entries recorded 3,365. Vehicle traffic summonses issued 328. Parking summonses issued 1,395. Department of Crimes uniform crime reports were 26. Arrests for the month were 84. 51 penal law arrests, 6 village ordinance arrests, and 27 vehicle and traffic arrests. Trustee Herrera mentioned rabies shots. We have 3 officers that are receiving rabies shots right now. 2 from a rabid cat that actually bit the animal control officer and scratched one of the officers down Spring Street. Health department was called in. They did round and they put posters up and out notices so people. And one of the other officers trying to clear of a house of a bat, grazed by the bat. He went to the hospital. It was like 2 marks, so they started him, and we don't know about the bat. We haven't got the results back. We're supposed to be back later today. But I was sort of assured that if we didn't hear from him right away, probably getting more testing. Not a happy job out there.
Yeah.
Fire Chief Matthew Scarduzio.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening, Chief.
The fire department to date has responded to 409 alarms. Call-wise, our call volume is up. The month of August has been very busy for us, but we do not have any major incidents to report, which is a good thing. I'd like to thank the village board, and as well, I'd like to thank the community for coming out during our annual fire department parade at the beginning of August. Very good showing from the community, so just want to thank everybody. And also our new Chief's vehicles in service, and thank you very much. My report.
Thank you.
Oh, you forgot to announce, Chief. Mike Benelli from Rescue 14 today passed his driver's test, and we now have another driver for the fire trucks in the village of Osneck.
You're correct. I did forget that.
I thought I would.
So, Mike Benelli, I know you're watching. Congratulations.
I'm very excited.
We're going to go backwards a little bit. Our village manager has another comment.
Sorry, I forgot to mention this. We are live on YouTube as we speak, and it looks and sounds great, I've been told. So
Fantastic.
just to let you know.
All right. So we don't even have, does that mean that people can watch it right now and they could watch
yes.
it 2 hours from now?
That's
Is it
correct.
it's just
Yes,
going to be there?
Once the RIT individual posts it, be able to watch it whenever. But right now, we're actually running live.
Terrific. Thank you.
Very cool.
Village engineer Paul Frioli.
Thank you.
Our YouTube, Paul.
There you go.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees.
Good evening.
A couple of non-touch and field things administratively that we're doing in the office, particularly with the assistance of the finance department. I got news last week that the county is kind of getting things going again with some of their CDBG outlays, and we expect within the month $16,000 and $72,000 reimbursements for the outlays for the 25 State Street project, which we administered, the housing project, and the recreation sun deck project the village administrated on behalf of CDBG. So that money will come in and offset our previous capital outlay. So that's a good thing. And thank you particularly to Dale Ferreira and the finance department for helping us process that paperwork. Some of the things that folks are seeing out there in this past month, we did, in conjunction with the town, mill and pave some roads. Unfortunately, we're forced to hold off on our Pine Avenue endeavor, but we did get the section of Iroquois done between Picantico and Croton, and that came out pretty nicely. And I'll just alert the residents there that one barrel that's still in the road there is we have to make an adjustment on one of the elevations of the manhole because there's a little bit of a dip caused by the structure there, but we'll address that sooner than later, and then we'll be done and out of there. regarding Pine and the pavement of Pine Avenue from Narragansett to Dale Avenue, we just heard today from our municipal liaison in Con Ed, which we'll also try to put out on the appropriate village venues so the public can be aware, that Con Ed plans to come in and do their gas main replacement work sometime commencing in the next couple of weeks and being done sometime in October. If weather permits, we will still try to mill and pave that road accordingly, but I don't want to commit our schedule when Con Ed has not even started yet, so I'll be back at you probably next month with some more details. The Kilbrook project is moving along nicely, and if you peek over the bridge, you can see that they're well underway with the work underneath the double arches, and they're more or less finished with the concrete components of where the park, where the walkway interfaces with Central Avenue. So we're still on track for an early fall completion, and again, next month I'll have more details on that. In-house forces have been working primarily focusing their road restoration efforts east of Narragansett between Pine and the area up around Betts Park. They're doing a lot of trench restoration for some older settled trenches and some cul-de-sac work in there. We're not doing complete overlay because funds did not permit, but we're in there now to do in-house work with materials, so we're trying to be cost effective, but it definitely needed to be addressed and could not wait for future capital projects, but that will be an area that will be on a potential capital project down the road. We'll discuss that towards the end of the year, I would imagine. Another Con Ed project that you may have noticed over the last month or so was on Water Street, where it interfaces with Snowden and Broadway. They were doing the gas utility relocation to facilitate the county's pending sanitary sewer project of the county siphon system in that area. Con Ed's more or less finished, and they did do a patch restoration because they were not sure when the county was going to come in. And we're also not sure when the county's going to come in, but they will be in there eventually. But that works out okay now because I think Andy will give you more details, but Snowden Avenue will hopefully start to be ripped up again to facilitate the new water main that the Harbor Square LLC contractor is producing as part of their site plan approvals, and they expect to start that work shortly after Labor Day. So following that, you'll have the county project, and hopefully following that, you'll have a Snowden Avenue restoration by us on a future capital paving project. And we have, I'm sure you've seen on Upper Croton between Linden and Prospect, commenced with our sidewalk and curb restoration work. It was a little tricky around the former restaurant there, but we're doing what's necessary to have safe ADA compliant walkways. A good portion of that work is being offset by assessment, and there's about 4 or 5 other areas of assessment that they're going to do in the village, and then some miscellaneous curb restoration work. So that contractor will be in town doing that work, and we appreciate the public's adherence to any parking restrictions that we place on them while we do that work. Lastly, on 2 personnel notes, I wish Trustee Herrera good luck with his position in the state, and I wanted to take the opportunity, although I'm not sure if he's watching, but to thank Sully for he always had words of wisdom based on his tenure when he came up to Central Garage with his car, which was, as he reminded me, the oldest car in the fleet, but he drove it well. So thank you and good luck down there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Superintendent of Water and Sewers, Andrew Teese.
Good evening, Mayor and Board.
Evening.
Evening.
Reservoir is doing pretty good. Last month we were at 93%, and right now we're at 92% capacity. So for this time of year, that's pretty decent. We're purchasing 90% of our water from New York City. Last month we were purchasing 85%. Just the difference in the flow. A month ago, the filter plant was putting out about 4 million gallons a day, and actually today we were up to 4.8 million gallons. So with the hot weather, the demand goes out big time. The cement water relining project, the contractor is mobilized this week on site at Main Street, Secor Road, and Water Street location. Presently, the contractor is installing above-ground bypass piping so the water does not get interrupted to the residents, so it'll be an above-ground water feed during the whole project. Once this process is completed, the contractor will start the excavation of water main replacement. That's going from a 6-inch main up to a 12-inch main, so it's a huge fire flow increase for the fire system, too. Hazen Sewer Environmental Engineers will meet with the mayor and board of trustees at the end of August, I think August 26th work session, to discuss the next step of the future water expansion. They're going to talk about the tiered rate water structure, so that should be interesting. We've had extensive meetings with Harbor Square representatives in regards to the installation of the new water main on Snowden Avenue. The developer submitted the final specs to the health department. They've already, the health department has given us and the developer authorization to construct bypass piping, basically the same type of system that we're working with the Kramer Brothers Company. And as Paul said, this project could start within the next 6 weeks. That's fully being paid for by the developer. The village performed the trial interconnection test with the town of Newcastle 2 weeks ago for a 30-hour period. I received authorization from the village manager to try this test out so that as the filter plant gets maxed out in the capacity in the future, if we get some hot weeks down the road in the next 5 years, we can purchase water from Newcastle and feed our Tor Bank system. We wanted to make sure that it filled our tanks properly and the residents of the Tor Bank system did not have any water quality issues. It worked out great. So the next step would be to have an IMA with the town of Newcastle while Hazen Sewer looks at developing a permanent interconnection there for capacity and for summertime usage. Finally, we received notification from the town of Newcastle police today stating that they were getting calls, their residents, threatening calls to shut their water service off. And the caller demanded immediate payment to the resident, from the resident. If any of our residents receive any calls like this, please hang up right away and notify our police department and tell them the nature of the call. So it's a scam that's out there, and it's unfortunate. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
I think that's something we may want to put on Facebook just to alert the residents. You can do that tomorrow. I think it's important that we
The
notify
police
people.
did.
You
Maybe we
already?
should share the
I
police's
think we'll do
post
that.
on our
Thank you.
our Facebook page as well, maybe our website.
Website. Yeah.
Web blast, too.
Director of Code Enforcement, Al Sirocco.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening.
I have the Building Department's July activity report. We had 62 new complaints this month. We were able to close, total complaints year to date, we have a total of 447. New and old complaints closed, we had 47 this month. Total closed complaints year to date, 281. Notice of violations, we had 31 new violations with 142 counts. To date, we have 195 violations that have been issued with 640 counts. Notice of violations closed, we had 13 with 35 counts, and a total up to date 96 with 196 counts. Court appearance tickets issued this month, we had 7 with 17 counts. Total to date is 85 with 361 counts. Court appearance tickets closed this month, we had 2, and total to date is 9. Court fines that were assessed this month is $2,100. Up to date, we have $12,500. We had 39 new building permits, fee totaling $21,525. Year to date, we have 198 permits, fee totaling $78,083.50. We had 22 certificate of occupancies issued. Year to date, 153. Final cost affidavit fees, $109 this month. Year to date, $3,035. We had 22 new plumbing permits, fee totaling $1,498. To date, we've had 111 plumbing permits, a fee totaling $8,478. 30 electrical permits, fee totaling $2,820. Year-to-date, 153 permits, fee totaling $19,021. We had 3 new backflow applications, fee totaling $300 this month. Year-to-date, 23, fee totaling $2,300. 6 new tree permits, fee totaling $400. Year-to-date, we've had 25, fee totaling $1,670. Let's see, pre-date inspections, we had 2 new inspections, fee totaling $280. Up to date, we've had 5 pre-dates, fee totaling $1,205. We've had 44 searches that our office has performed, fee totaling $4,500. Year to date, we've had 181 searches, fee totaling $18,640. We've worked on 28 foils. Year to date, total is 171. We had 117 overnight parking inspections this month. Year to date, we've had 658. Section 8 inspections, 17. Year to date, we've had 117. We've performed 6 fire assembly inspections. To date, total, we've had 165. Building plumbing inspections, we've had 192 this month. Year to date, we've had 1,445 inspections that have been performed by our office. Plan reviews completed for building, plumbing, electrical, predate, backflow, tree, and sign permits. We had this month 102 reviews. Plan reviews completed year to date, 525. Just a couple of quick announcements other than the report. Smoke and carbon alarms are the law. So please, every home needs, residential home needs to have smoke and carbon alarms per New York State Property Maintenance Code. If you have any questions, please call the building department at 941-3199, and we will be more than happy to help you. So you can, because every different home could have a different application on how many alarms. So we'll be more than happy to help you. Also, we get a lot of people that are selling homes, refinancing. Please, even if you're not, and you just want to know if there's any issues with your home, please feel free to call the building department. We can discuss with you, you know, the different avenues that you can take to make the process easier for you. So once again, please call 941-3199, and we'd be more than happy to help you. That's it.
Hey, Al, before you go.
Yes, sir.
This is the time of year where a lot of people do remodeling on their homes and do work on their homes in order to get them ready for sale or just to make them nicer. And some people have complained that their neighbors are just putting stuff out on the street and it just stays forever. Would you explain to the folks at home what the process is for getting rid of construction debris and rehab debris and large trash that falls outside the realm of normal pickup?
Sure. I mean, well, contractors, this really goes to contractors who are doing work for the homes. You are responsible to remove your construction debris. I mean, either have a dumpster on your property, or if there's no way that a dumpster can be put on the property, you would have to speak to DPW to see if you can have a permit to put the dumpster in the street. That's if there's no way you can actually have it on your property. But for the most part, I mean, you need to follow your sanitation rules as far as putting garbage out in your proper canisters on a proper day. But other than that, the contractor and homeowner are responsible to remove the garbage. And not only that, but not just leave it on your property too, because it becomes a property maintenance issue and it brings infestation. So you need to, you know, bring it to the nearest dump, or, you know, find another avenue. Contractors always put in their prices to remove the garbage. So that is the law. Unfortunately, we would have to come and give you a violation, and then they take it if you do not take care of it. So we don't want that. So, but if you have any questions, give us a call, or you can call DPW on the days that garbage can be put out.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I have a couple of announcements this evening. Just to piggyback on Omar, I was going to discuss the rabies clinic. If you feel that your dog or cat has come into contact with that rabid cat, Even though they have received their rabies shots, take them over to the SPCA and have a booster shot done on the day it's on our bulletin board. And Trustee Herrera just announced it. The other thing is that on August the 26th, the county clerk's outreach staff is going to have their mobile unit down at the community center. So if you would like to go out and fill out an application for a passport, they're also taking pictures. So they're going to be there August 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you need any further information or any forms, I do have some in the office.
Thank you.
We'll move on to organizational announcements.
Good evening, Mayor Garrity and trustees.
Good evening.
My name is Matthew Galata. I'm the president and founder of Galata House, servicing area residents of Westchester with hardship, community events, and local scholarships. I'm coming tonight just to say thank you very much to everybody in Ossining and neighboring towns, especially our board, the police, the chief of the Ossining Volunteer Fire Department, Matthew Scarduzio. His team, his volunteers were incredible. Palisades Fuel and IFCA played a big part, and Ossining Rotary Club, Choice Pets, A. Nolan's, Silverleaf Resorts, Briarcliff Pediatric Dentistry, Landmark Diner, Lucy's Pizza, and Ossining Fraternal Order of Eagles. I want to announce these because they helped sponsor the event, and they also did a lot of volunteering for the event. And without the volunteers, we wouldn't have had an exceptional night. And with Mayor, you being the mayor and coming with your family and supporting it, it was extra special. I appreciate Mr. Omar Herrera, who was also there, and Mr. Trustee Dario, who supported it online. Thank you, everybody, and the board, because it was a great night. And I just wanted to come tonight just to say again, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, especially working with the Abe and Christine and Marianne. Thank you very much.
It was a great event. Thank you. Nice job.
Is there anyone else who has an organizational announcement?
Yeah. The United States Coast Guard Auxiliary is actually meeting right now at the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. They meet the third Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. the Ossining Boat and Canoe Club. If you're interested in helping teaching boating safety classes, giving free boating safety inspections, or having any of that, stop by the club. They'd love to see you. Thank you.
We'll move on to village board resolutions. Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding any of the resolutions? Move on to the adoption. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the August 5th, 2015 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Because?
Wasn't here.
You.
Thank you. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated August 19th, 2015, the amount of $203,848.80. Do I?
So moved. Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas Village Trustee Omar J. Herrera, whose term commenced January 1st, 2015, and will expire December 31st, 2016, has submitted a written letter to the Board of Trustees indicating his resignation to be effective September the 8th, 2015. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, in accordance with the provisions of the village charter, hereby accepts such resignation of Trustee Omar J. Herrera to be effective September the 8th, 2015, and wishes him well in his future endeavors, and thanks him for his generous dedication and service to the village. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board,
Well, yeah, what I'm wondering is, if we vote this down, does that mean he can't go? Because I hate that he's leaving. I am thrilled, as I said last time, for the opportunity for Omar to go and work with the governor. I know that Omar is going to have a stellar future, and it's always good to have somebody from Ossining having the ear of the governor. So I wish you well, thank you for your service. But I know you're not really going that far, and we will be seeing and hearing more of you.
And we will have more meetings with you, so we'll give our formal public farewell weeks from now. But I'm not too happy about voting on this resolution, I must say. Any other comments? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Resolved, the 2015 general fund budget is modified to appropriate an insurance recovery settlement check in the amount of $26,142.88, plus to transfer available appropriations of $8,642.75 from the Police Department Personal Services Appropriation Account for purchase of a police sedan vehicle under county contract, plus to transfer lights, sirens, radio, and equipment as follows. Increased general fund estimated revenues, account number 001-0001-2681, other insurance recoveries, $26,142.88. Decreased general fund appropriation, account number 001-3120, 0100, police personal services, $8,642.75. Increased general fund appropriations, account number 001-3120, 0207, police vehicles and equipment, for a total amount of $34,785.63. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board?
Hold it, Mayor.
Yes.
Just so people know that was taking a long time to finally get the insurance company to pay us. That car was 6 weeks old, and the officer was out of the car when it got hit by a big bread-type truck, destroyed. So I don't want people to think that we're out there getting new cars because, like I said, a brand-new car that was not our fault this time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Village of Ossining will undertake a project to design, purchase, and install downtown walking tour markers for the downtown's historic buildings, and whereas Museum in the Streets had previously submitted a proposal to provide consultant services for the project, including providing the panels after they were designed by the village, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees reviewed the proposal and professional qualifications of Museum in the Streets and has found both to be acceptable, and whereas the village's design portion of the project has now been substantially complete and based upon the increase in the number of markers to be ordered by the village, and current pricing for materials, a revised contract price is now required in accordance with the proposal. Now therefore be resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village manager to enter into an agreement with Museum in the Streets, LLC, P.O. Box 11, Cushing, Maine, to provide services related to the downtown walking tour project in an amount not to exceed $19,000, which, with such agreement, to be subject to review and approval by Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
It's a great project. It's taken a long time, and it takes a long time because we have to do this right. There's a lot goes into the researching of the information to be put on the signs, and I'm very excited that this is finally going to be done. I think that people need to know about Ossining and about all the wonderful historic buildings and historic events that have occurred here. We are rich in history, and this is just one more thing that will help make Ossining the destination that it really ought to be.
Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Village of Ossining hereby accepts a proposal from Nixle 360, 500 North Brand Boulevard, Suite 1000, Glendale, California, dated July 23rd, 2015, for services in connection with community engagement and emergency notification, and be it further resolved that the village manager is authorized to execute any and all documents as needed to formalize the relationship between the village and Nixle for a 3-year term, with annual payments not to exceed $5,200 $280, reflecting a 12% savings per year. Said documents to meet the approval of Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board.
Yes, I just, as I mentioned at the last work session meeting, I think it's a great tool, and we definitely need it, and it involves our safety. So I will be supporting this tonight. However, I can't speak for future boards, right? But would love to see it included in our police budget, and make sure that it's included. It's the second item that this board has approved that wasn't in the police budget. So just want to, just encourage that.
Thank you. Trustee Codman, did you want to comment?
I had a question when we were when we talked about this at the work session. There was discussion of when would the contract be executed, and were we going to start between now and the end of the year? Are we starting January 1st? Or supposedly there was some, obviously you get a discounted price, which I'm happy to hear about, but I'm just wondering when the contract would be in.
I believe that the way that it's set up right now, it is going to start as soon as we can get it going, and it will be a yearly contract, so the next payment will not be due next August or September, depending on the timing of
So it's not a calendar year contract, it's a fiscal or contract-based
That's
cycle?
how we have it set up right now, yes. Now,
Okay.
the other thing that I actually wanted to mention to the board is the town has agreed verbally right now to a portion of the expenses. Benefit will also be for residents. So Supervisor Donnelly and I discussed it earlier today, and that we will be negotiating the portion responsible for. The other thing that I wanted to mention too, actually, we may have discussed it at the work session last week, is because this particular system is going to be used by several departments, it not be solely the responsibility of the police departments. So Recreation is going to be using it, Public Works will be using it, Health will be using it. So we're going to be dividing the portion that the village among several departments. I think it's the fair thing to do because none of us budgeted for it. So if we break it down into the departments that are going to be using it, I think it's a fair thing to do.
That'd be great.
I agree.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We do have one additional resolution that is not on your agenda. It was brought to my attention by Fire Chief Scarduzio. We have a new member. He is a transfer from Dobbs Ferry Fire Department, and he's been approved as an interior firefighter and will be added to the active roles of the Ossining Fire Department as a member of the Senate Hook and Ladder. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board.
What's the name of the individual?
Oh, I'm sorry. Justin Muscarella.
Okay.
Welcome to
Just
Mr.
want to know who I'm
Mazzarella.
voting for here. So
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that completes our resolutions. Do we have any continuing business of the board?
We do not.
Do we have new business of the board?
Yes. So I just wanted to briefly address just overall, it's actually been a couple years now that I've been hearing about, every town has parking problems and issues and challenges, and I just want to assure everyone that this board, along with our department heads and our village administration, is in the process of making sure that we audit and evaluate our systems and our procedures and our signage. We are in a season of a lot of changes, and for you to bear with us, and we will be addressing it very shortly.
Yeah. This past Monday, I visited Judge DeWill's traffic court. He had to dismiss almost all the tickets issued for overnight parking due to two reasons. Either no actual violation had occurred, or the ticket was not properly written. It was either not dated, not signed, or completely illegible. There's a couple of issues, and the board is going to be addressing them, but I want to say something tonight because I did promise folks that I would discuss it. First, the code for parking and the list of streets where overnight parking is in fact available need to be updated. They don't match. And once that's done, a list needs to be given to all parking enforcement and police officers, so they have it. Signage needs to be updated. Currently, if parking is not posted as allowed, it's prohibited. That's been the policy here for a long time. It is my opinion that this is the opposite of what the practice should be. Signs should state where parking is prohibited or limited. If there is no sign, it should be okay to park there. That's just my opinion. Tickets should be legible, filled out properly, and signed. We need to do some remedial training in the department in order to address this. So, in the short term, I don't think that tickets should be being written unless there's a sign restricting the parking that can be seen. Do that while we update the code. And once that's done and the code is updated, parking signs need to be made, and that signage needs to be put in place so that tickets that are written are not dismissed. People are spending an awful lot of time sitting in court waiting to have their tickets dismissed. It wastes the court time and it wastes people's time. And this has been going on for a very long time, since long before I came on this board. And it's time it's addressed. So we are going to be doing that. It will be on an agenda for a work session. This is not going to continue.
No, it's not going to continue, and I'd like you very much that you embarrass the police department in front of the public. We're very much up to date on this thing. Policy. It's not a policy, it's the law. You don't have policies, you have laws. And we follow the law, not a policy. Policy is stated as you come into the village that signs are not there, is no parking. Policy. You want to put up signs, it's called sign pollution. You can have signs all over this place. They look like New York City, which people complain about. You also, training, we train constantly. We've issued 1,400 tickets July. How many were dismissed? 1,400?
I don't know.
But you're telling these people you just dismissed 1,400 tickets.
No.
That's not possible. No. No, Bob.
In all
fairness, you just put a disparity on the department.
You know I have great respect for
No,
the
I don't care what you're trying to backtrack on.
No, I'm not
You
backtracking.
just said it. You put a disparity. No, wait. You listen to me this time.
Okay.
You put a disparity on the department, saying every ticket that's written is dismissed. If Judge Twill feels that he wants to dismiss tickets, that's up to Judge Twill. But all 5 of you have been complaining about the judges dismissing tickets for no reason. Lack of venue, lack of money. That all this that you have been blasting them about since they took over. And now, because one mistake was made and you came to court and took care of that one mistake and watched it, it must be rampant. No, it's not rampant. And you need to retract what you just said, because you are 100% wrong. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to respond to that by saying, first of all, there's nobody here, including you, that doesn't know I have tremendous respect for this police department.
Well, you got to show it.
Okay.
You can't say it. You have to show it. You just embarrassed the department in front of all these people. It's now on YouTube. It's going to be played every freaking time for the next how many decades?
I sat here.
No, you just said that, Bob.
I watched a whole room.
You better stand up and change the whole thing and count YouTube.
I can't do that.
Okay.
I watched a whole room full of tickets get dismissed.
All right. Enough.
I watched a whole room full of tickets get
Enough.
dismissed.
Bob.
One
Enough.
after another, after another, after another.
1,400 of them.
Order.
No, I didn't say that.
Enough.
Well, that's what you just said.
I said
they're all dismissed.
Trustee Durayo, Chief Burton, please. We will continue this conversation in a work session. We will hear from the police department. We'll hear from all of the relevant departments. We have a lot of concerns about parking. Thank you very much to the community members who brought up the discrepancy about and helping us to look how to clarify parking in a particular street that was in question. We may have an outcome that is better for all, but for right now, I think I will speak for the board and say thank you very much, Chief, for the great work of the department. We look forward to resolving this particular issue in an upcoming work session. Are there any further comments on this?
If I just may real quick. A couple of the issues, I guess, is information that has been out there. It was internal meetings that I have personally with the police department, which is a great department, by the way, and they do a lot of training. Well, I have met with Lieutenant Montague a couple meetings, a couple of weeks back. I have met with Lieutenant Kevin Sylvester. I met with our mayor. I met with village manager. And one of the meetings, and all the different conversations that I had was that I want to have an internal meeting with the rest of our staff where we can actually look into all our overnight parking. That conversation was mentioned to you, Bob. I mentioned that to you a while back, about 2 weeks ago. I'm really embarrassed. But thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Shall we move on to visitor recognition?
I actually have one more non-related business item.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Madam Mayor. Okay. So I just want to read a support letter that I'll be releasing tomorrow. The faith-based community, IFCA, along with local leaders, came together in 2014 to discuss the problem of homelessness in the village of Ossining. It is estimated, it's just an estimate, being verified by the county and hopefully our village very soon, that there are somewhere between 25 to 50 homeless individuals living in Ossining during the winter months. The majority of whom are, immigrants and day laborers. There are people who are here and working hard in our communities, yet have no access to decent housing. Ossining is not the only in Westchester County to deal with this issue. A few years back in Mount Kisco, they experienced the death of several homeless men during the winter months. They had frozen to death. This spurred the creation of an emergency shelter program. Now 10 years old, this nearly all-volunteer program has saved untold lives by providing a warm place to sleep and a hot meal to homeless individuals during the coldest months of the year, from November through April. Since the program's inception, there have been no deaths due to exposure during the winter months. With the help of our very own Perry Bhutan, pastor of the First Presbyterian Church, and along with several members of our faith-based community here in Ossining, and with the support of Paul Alcorn and Mel Berger, founders of the Mount Kisco and Bedford Emergency Shelter Program, along with our very own IFCA and other engaged community leaders and stakeholders, Ossining now has plans in place to replicate this extremely efficient and effective program in time for the winter months in 2015 and 2016. Together, we can work proactively to prevent these disastrous events that prompted action in Mount Kisco. We have an important opportunity to take action early to prevent harm to our residents while contributing to local practices and policies that protect our community, demonstrating once again that Ossining is a model for dealing with issues of community, diversity, opportunity head-on, and for the betterment of all. I'll be inviting the village board, the village administration, all departments, the stakeholders meeting, to see how we could all get on board and learn about it and get input. And I look forward to coming back from Albany and opening it and making sure that's done in an effective way. Unfortunately, we do have a homeless population here in winter months that aren't seen. A lot aren't seen. I've experienced it numerous times at all times of the day and night. The program has my full support, and I look forward to partnering up with my colleagues on the board, learning more about this prospective opening. Thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. I totally forgot.
Gave us copies.
Yeah. Okay, so I give a copy to all my colleagues and to the clerk and village manager's office because before I go, one of the things that I want to at least begin is proposing a new special events and programs procedure and policy. So personally, I've experienced this, and I've also seen it, that we've had a lot of challenges differentiating nonprofit events, private events, the procedures, the application process that we do for particular individuals, that necessarily aren't done for other individuals of the same type. I'm going to be posting this online. It's just a draft, just so you could know what I'm talking about. And the step one, and this is all a proposed procedure. Nothing has been, I haven't discussed this with my colleagues yet or the department heads. This is just an idea to get us started. Step one would be to fill out a comprehensive application, which would cover all bases in all departments. I attached a sample of Yonkers, which did a tremendous job. That's definitely, that application and department is where we should aim to be one day. In addition, sign a hold harmless agreement and consult with our corporation counsel to make sure that, that we cover all other legal and liability steps. The application would have a series of steps that must be followed, but in order, so you would actually know what comes next and who to speak to and who has your stuff. You could actually track your application as it's submitted. It would include an area for police, fire, DPW, and any other department. And usually in most either towns, cities, or municipality, they have a processing fee, right? So for example, $25 if it's received 60 days in advance, $50 if it's, so the sooner the event, the higher the cost. The step two would be to schedule an event consultation with personnel in the village manager's office. This is great because this is going to assure us that we have a clear understanding of what the mission and vision is of the event or program. And this will then, help us identify the event, its needs, the possible services it may have, right? And then they can then sign off. Now, once those two steps are done, then now the applicant is ready to come to the village board. They've already met with the department heads, the village manager's office. They submitted an application. They've already, they met with corporation counsel, and then they could be referred to our board, make a presentation, and the board can then proceed. Now, the next step is a little tricky. This is where we've had a lot of challenges in. Establishing applicant types. So there's nonprofit organizations, right? So you have your 501c3s, C4s. You have private entities, which I call businesses, individuals, corporations. And then you have municipal sponsored, right? So events that are done by the Downtown Events Committee, a department, a recreation department, right? So what procedures and processes will be in place that differentiate what has to be done and what is required or not. And the questions that, just for thought, and we don't have to actually answer these today, is currently, after my big challenge with Summerfest, the board at that time adopted a one-day peddler's license, which means, a private vendor would have to, go to the clerk's office along with the police department and get a license, which is protocol. It is necessary. But now there is one for one day, which is great. It's a one-day license. It costs $25. It could be obtained in the clerk's office. But the question would be, does that policy go for nonprofit events? Does it go for private entities? Does it go for municipal sponsored? Who determines the difference and why? Or what organization it falls under, right? And the next question would be, we need to include in our application process, since we want to encourage people to plan events here, you want to get to a point where it's like, wow, Austin has so many events that's attracting people from all over the county and state. I mean, that's where you want to get to, right? A tourist destination. What are the itemized costs for a policeman, a DPW employee, a dumpster, our traffic control equipment? Instead of saying we'll get back to you, let's break it down. And even if we say it's an estimated cost, right? So that's kind of all I had for today. I tried to compile a year-round calendar of events, and we have a lot of events. Not that many on Austin property, village property, but we have a lot of events. So this procedure would go for any nonprofit, any private entity that has any type of event or program. I mean, literally any type of event or program in the village, whether it's a music festival, a carnival, a gospel concert, a movies, anything. This is the equitable process that we need that is not in place right now.
Well, you've given us an awful lot to consider. Thank you for getting the ball rolling on this.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Might we move on to visitor recognition? Is there anyone here to address the board? If so, please give your name and your residential address.
My My name is Gina Staley. I live at 65 Claremont Gardens. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the resident that expressed complaints about parking tickets on Facebook. I wanted to take this opportunity to share my grievances in person. Since moving to Austining 5 months ago, we have received 3 overnight parking tickets. The first 2 tickets were for not having a parking permit when I did in fact have a parking permit correctly placed as required. I paid the first ticket as I just didn't have time to deal with the process. The second ticket was for the same offense. 2 days ago, my husband had to leave work early, sit in court, and have that ticket dismissed. I understand that the Austining Police Department believes that they were right in placing the third ticket, as there was no overnight parking sign at the location where I parked. As a new resident, I was not aware that a sign had to be present. When I moved to Austining, someone along the way mentioned a list of allowable parking streets that I should review before parking. I got online, easily found the list, and determined that I was parking appropriately. I've been told that there are signs at each of the village entrances that state that one can only park where there is a sign. I've never noticed these signs before, so I went out to see one. I only went to the end of the village near Landmark Diner. I barely saw the sign. I had to turn around and drive past it again at about 15 miles per hour to read the sign that was heavily blocked by branches and leaves. It stated that there is no parking from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. except where it's with a tag and where designated. There's no mention of street signs. I found the designated streets list and trusted that this would be accurate. If officers will be writing tickets for breaking a code, they should absolutely be certain that they are correct in their understanding of the offense. I see no reason that if there is any question about a location, the overnight patrol should not be able to easily access this list to verify their information. I understand that the OPD considers their signs for their verification. Knowing this and going forward, I will also rely more on signs. Finally, I now know that several years ago, it was determined that the area that I parked in on Van Cortlandt Avenue was supposed to be changed to no parking because of an angry resident. Signs were removed, but the code was not changed. As one of the many residents at Cortlandt Ridge Apartments, I must say that we need that area of parking. Residents are given 1 parking space each. Without that area of parking on Van Cortlandt, we simply do not have enough parking spaces. I should be able to park on a street near my home that I also pay taxes for. The resident that calls nightly to complain about parking in front of his home does not own the street. If that area cannot be left as an allowable overnight parking street, the residents of Cortlandt Ridge need another parking option. When my husband works 60 hours a week and I have 2 young children to take care of, a second car is a necessity. I pay to live in this village and I pay to park in this village. I ask the OPD to be more diligent when writing overnight tickets. I ask the board to ensure that codes are changed when resolutions are passed. And I ask the courts to make it easier for us to have incorrectly written tickets dismissed. Thank you for your time in working to resolve the complaints.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else?
Yes, Dee.
Hello, my name is Nadine Murray, 19 Hamilton Avenue. I just want to ask somebody from the village code enforcers about the age limit for bars on the windows, because young parents that have Section 8, they might not know that kids, I don't know the age, but there's kids that don't have bars on their windows at 6 years old, because I went to somebody's house and they don't have bars on their windows, so I just wanted to know the age. And now it's every 2 years, I think, for building inspectors to come to the house with if they want them to. They don't have to come. It's a question.
Yes, please come up.
Stuck.
So your first question was, as far as window guards?
Yes.
Okay, there is no actual requirement, window guards, in the village, in the municipality. I think that's more in the city. As far as window guards, one of the things with the code is you do not want to block egress, especially if it's for bedroom, or you need to have an egress window from each bedroom, so they can basically, God forbid, if there's a fire, you need to be able to escape. Now, people can have window guards, but by code, they have to be able to be open. They can't be screwed in. They have to be able to be easily removed, so a child can get out. I hope that answers that question. All right, and now the second question.
I'm up on the radiator, pull the screen and look out the window.
Well, if they're nervous, they can put, there are guards out there that actually are just by compression, so basically they can open up real quickly. you don't want to screw something in and then basically take away an exit for a child or any family member in case there's an emergency, right?
So it's not the law that they
No,
have.
no, but it is a law not to block egress. So, but there are ways that you could, like I said, foldable. If you have questions, we can help you look online, give us a call. All right, you got it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Yes? Good evening.
Alex Scott, 27 Lafayette Avenue. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
I want to speak about these cats that are running around. The one that got shot was at the bottom of my hill. I have 2 dogs. I don't let them out without a leash or out of my yard. It's a good thing. But are we supposed to be, or are people supposed to be feeding these cats? And getting, because when you feed them, every kind of animal comes.
Please, could you?
Yes, if Assistant Village Manager Papes could let us know, let the public know a little bit more about the policy we have, the program in place.
So, we don't encourage feeding stray cats. We do have certain colonies that have popped up throughout the community. We have some civilian, what we call civilian trappers. And they're following a policy that is recognized through some government organizations as best practice, and through the SPCA, which is they call the TNR program, the Trap, Neuter, Release. If say yourself, you bring something, you see a large number of strays, you bring that to our attention. We have these people who are recognized and acknowledged by the SPCA and others that have expertise in it. They'll evaluate the colony. They begin trapping the cats. If they are domesticated, they will bring them to the SPCA for adoption. They all go to the SPCA. The SPCA evaluates them. If they're sickly, they'll put them down. If they're not, they will they fix them, they neuter them, or spay them. They notch their ear and release them, so that they will. You
don't try to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. It's a way to try to manage the colony. We don't encourage the average person to feed them. These volunteers will then monitor the colony and see if they're healthy. And apparently, the way the cats work, they have kind of like a can't think of what the word is, but they keep their group tight, and they maintain it. And if everyone's healthy, they don't let other cats in. And again, this has been identified as a best practice to keep the sickly cats down, so they're not reproducing. Cats can reproduce. I think it's every 2 months they can have litters. It's a ridiculously, almost like rabbits, more than you would realize. So when they're not monitored or addressed, they just keep having, even these adolescent cats will keep having cats, and they get very sickly, and that's when they have the issues.
But people should not feed them.
No.
I had started it one time, and somebody said if you feed them, they're going to keep coming back, and they're
Yeah.
going to bring other animals, rats.
That's correct. You should not be
Well,
out
then
there.
Does
People.
the community know that? Because I know these people that feed these cats all the time.
I don't know that they know that. We do have, like I said, a few colonies that are being maintained and people are taking care of them, but there are these others that we'll hear about, and it becomes where it attracts other animals that you don't want, raccoons,
And yes,
rats,
raccoons.
things like that.
They're
They
not
leave
as
their
nice as
garbage there.
cats.
That's
You
not
know,
the
I
way.
love animals, but I sure don't want them killing my dogs.
Yep, you should only feed cats if they're yours.
All right. They need to try to keep them down, though. And people need to know that they should not feed them.
No, they should not feed them.
Do
Just
we have
the
any way
trusted
of letting
trappers.
people know?
We can certainly do that.
Yeah,
We can
we could
certainly
do
put a
something.
notification to the public.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And say it one last time. Don't feed your cats that are stray. Don't feed stray cats.
But there may be particular language that we can get, an advisory from the ASPCA perhaps, and include that in an upcoming web blast, some information.
I don't want them disturbing my dogs.
Of course.
Alice, your dogs are out in a fenced-in yard? Okay, but,
And I check it all the time. I don't want
okay, I was gonna say,
space to get
because
in.
the cat still could come in contact even though the dog,
They don't come in once they see my big dog.
most importantly, keep your vaccines updated.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it doesn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Oh, whoa,
Executive
we need to adjourn to executive session to discuss specific issues of personnel. Is there anything else? Okay, issues of personnel related to specific persons.
Okay, so we'll have a motion to adjourn to executive session for personnel, and trustee Jariah made the motion, and trustee Herrera seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And with that, I thank you very much for joining us for this very spirited meeting, and I encourage you to join us next week for the work session, which will be held at Village Hall, 16 Croton Avenue, on August 26th. And with that, thank you very much. Good evening.